Hello, hello. Welcome to today's session of Selling the Couch. I hope you are doing well, having an incredible day. So I've got same studio setup, but I've decided to move my camera back a little bit. So if you're watching us on YouTube, and you might be wondering whoa, this looks a little bit different. Well, that's the reason. And part of it is we want to continue to improve our editing skills, and making these video version of the podcast just a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful experience for you. And so we're experimenting, and so hence the moving back. This will allow me to kind of our video editor to zoom in and out and do all those fun things that are way over my head. But today's session is all about how to design a therapist-friendly course that actually gets finished. This is part three of a series that we are calling the Therapist Path to a Successful Online Course. I will include a link to the first two videos somewhere near here in the description section for this video. But this is something that I know a lot of us are concerned about, which is not just like finishing or putting an online course into the world, but how do we actually get one that people actually want to complete? This is one of these little things about online courses that I didn't fully realize, which is online courses, like a traditional online course, has a notoriously low rate of completion. And so the real challenge, I think, as course creators is how do we include enough information that is both engaging, but then not so long where people click off, right? Because the reality is we live in a world that is more distracted than ever. And the attention is not just competing with our online course, right? Our online course is also competing with Instagram and TikTok and family obligations and all sorts of other things. And so this question of how do we actually, create something that actually gets finished is something I think a lot about, not just for our courses, but in teaching therapists to create their own course. Even just to start out with, because the reality is, you're not just building a product when you're creating an online course. We know this as clinicians, and so I don't have to repeat it, but what we're actually creating is a transformational experience, helping someone that is taking our online course go from something they want to know and learn how to do, and then moving them into that transformation in a simple and easy path. Because that's what often people are signing up for our online course for. It's the shortest path to get something accomplished that they want to accomplish. So just kind of a story as I was thinking and reflecting on even what to share with you. When I first launched my podcasting course called Healthcasters, this is a podcasting course specifically for therapists. I remember this pressure that I felt, which is on one hand, I had a lot of knowledge that I wanted to share, stuff that I had learned just through the fire of, these are factors to consider. But then on the other hand, I knew that podcasting by its nature can be very technical and overwhelming. And I was keenly aware to not overwhelm the students who would be going through the course. But I also, at my heart, I wanted someone to go through the course and be like, you know what? I spent a good amount of money on this, but this was really well worth it. If I'm just being completely honest, that question or that realization that I wanted to pack in as much knowledge as possible, what it actually led underneath it on one level was a fear that my course just wouldn't be good enough. I mean, the reality is when I launched that course, there were competing courses out there that also taught podcasting, none specifically built for therapists that I knew of, but definitely other podcasting courses out there. And as podcasting continues to skyrocket in popularity, there are more course options out there, even in 2025 and beyond, right? So for me, what I naturally did when I operate from a place of fear there's this thing that I struggle with, which is this underlying anxiety. And my way of compensating for that fear and anxiety is to overpack with content. So I did a ton of modules, a ton of bonus lessons, a ton of worksheets, the works of kind of just giving everything I could. But here's the hard realization I had, which was a lot of people didn't actually finish the course. And that stung because I realized I wasn't building a course for me. I needed to build it for them. Busy, overwhelmed therapists that felt like they had a bigger mission beyond just the therapy room and wanted a platform by which to share that voice out with the world. So I simplified a lot. I cut down the content. I added optional things. I made it easy to finish. If there's one thing that you're taking away or will take away from this conversation is, as you're designing your online course, always remember what is the simplest path from A to B. Simple is elegant, in other words. And when we go from that perspective, what often happens is completion rates tend to skyrocket. So a finished course is more powerful than a perfect one. Completion creates confidence, not just for your students, but for you as a course creator. And then it also creates referrals. So, i.e., someone that took your course may mention you in a room that you're not even present in about the course, right? And we want our students to have just a wonderful experience of that. So I wanted to just, spend the rest of the time talking through what I feel are 3 anchors for course design that can help you with completion rates for your own online course. So first is design for real life energy, not ideal circumstances. This has taken me forever to realize. It's uber simple, but when you start recording an online course, there's a part, and I'll just speak for myself, there's a part of me, I was like, oh, people are here to hear what I want to say in my own perspective on this. So things like how long I make these videos or what I put in, they are like the most important thing, like that's the most important thing that I have to factor. Now, but here's the reality. Most of our students are busy, tired, and juggling 10 different things. So respect that by keeping your lessons short, by keeping it also mobile friendly. So practically what that means is a lot of times, I find myself doing this when I purchase courses, which is I will consume course content often on my hike. So i.e. I have my iPhone with me and not like a laptop, right? And so practically what that means is if somebody only has like a finite amount of time, like they've got to, they're working out and they're listening to our stuff, always be aware of that people are not just listening or consuming our course content by sitting at a desk and watching it on a desktop or a laptop. Now, in other words, don't build for the best version of your student, build for their real life. The second point that I wanted to share with you is layer in accountability and gentle community. I use the word gentle because I think one of the biggest shifts that I've seen in the course creation space, specifically during the pandemic, courses got very popular. And because people, especially if you lived in the US, you had a lot more discretionary income, whether that was, subsidized by the government, whatever the situation was, or the fact that we were all stuck at home. So we had a lot more discretionary income, right? I find that a lot of us are still kind of building with that model. So in other words, in that model, you could often build an online course and just sell it without any sort of meaningful connection or community. But what has changed, and you know this if you're listening as a therapist, the craving for community has only increased over time, and especially post-pandemic, people are not just craving community, but they're craving an authentic community. And they're also craving accountability. Like, hey, I don't just want course material. I want to walk alongside others who are navigating this as well, so that I don't feel alone in the journey. That's the reality of the situation. Now, here's the other side of it. As a course creator, the tension that we all have is what does community look like, and how do I create community in a way that is sustainable, not just like 6 months or 1 year into my course creation journey, but 10 years into my journey, 10 plus years into my journey. The little principle that I always try to follow is, in what opportunities do we have in this? If we're creating community, how do we serve one-to-many versus one-to-one? This is completely different than how most of us as clinicians are trained, because we're trained in a one-to-one model, right? Whether it's couples or individual therapy or any of these. Practically what this means is community could look like a cadence of live calls. It could also be what we have with our online course mastermind and our new community called Haven that's starting up in January. And that's just a Voxer community. So Voxer is basically, if you remember those Nextel walkie-talkie commercials from back in the days, sorry, dating myself here a little bit, but if you remember those, Voxer is basically allows you to speak into this app and people can hear your responses. So it's perfect because you don't have to be on like social media in order to consume Voxer. So you can just have it as an app on your phone, or you could access it via desktop, whatever is like comfortable for you. Just remember, humans finish what they feel connected to. To put another way, people come for the content, and maybe they buy our online course for the content, but ultimately they stick around for their sense of belonging and their sense of community. And put another way, transformation happens when we're seen, not just taught certain things. So that's the balance I think all of us have to think about and as we're creating our online course. 3, keep the path simple and clear. So avoid overwhelming people with too many options or resources. This is really, again, hard in the moment, but we have to remember that the reason someone is purchasing our online course, or a big reason often, is there's a sense of overwhelm of, I have tried to do this thing that your course is teaching on my own, or I am really struggling with this and I don't know how to proceed forward. And so the thing is, when someone's already coming from a higher than baseline level of overwhelm, we don't want to create more stuff to create further overwhelm. So little things like this, use templates, checklists, a roadmap, right? But here's a really practical thing that I'll often tell our colleagues: create an informal advisor board. So a board of folks that are your ideal course students, folks that are referral sources for your online course, folks that may be in auxiliary or related fields related to your online course topic, and check in with them. Say, hey, I'm designing it this way. Am I thinking about the right way? Does it feel overwhelming to you? Does it feel too much? All of those things can be such a huge game changer. Just remember, clarity builds momentum, confusion kills it. So the 3 topics again that I just wanted to mention to create an anchors for course design that therapists love, but also are 1, designed for real life energy, not ideal circumstances; 2, layer in accountability and gentle community; 3, keep the path simple and clear. As we approach the end of this year, if an online course is on your horizon, and you want to build this, or if you're listening to this a little later date and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to create a course for a long time, we have a free course creator starter kit for you, which is over at sellingthecouch.com/course kit. It's a 7-day free email course specifically designed for therapists And it's meant to help you validate your course idea so that as you design this and as you think about things like community, you already know it's an idea that's been validated. Again, that is over at sellingthecouch.com/course kit. We've had over 1,600 folks download this course kit, which I'm so grateful for. So definitely check it out. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.